Chapter 33, Section 3, School Desegregation. After the Brown ruling, some districts and states in the South desegregated their schools quickly. Others, however, resisted the Supreme Court decision. Governors of several Southern states staunchly maintained their opposition to integration. The governors of Arkansas and Mississippi, for example, aggressively intervened in an effort to prevent blacks from attending all-white schools. The battle to integrate public schools proved to be long and difficult. 9 teenagers integrate Central High School. In 1957, a federal judge ordered public schools in Little Rock, Arkansas to begin desegregation. The Little Rock school superintendent, Virgil Blossom, hoped to postpone the change as long as possible. He set up a plan to integrate just one school, Central High School. 2,000 white students attended Central. In September 1957, 9 black students were scheduled to join them. They would later be known as the Little Rock Nine. Citing public opposition to integration in Arkansas, Governor Orville Fabus declared that he would not support desegregation in Little Rock. Fabus called out the Arkansas National Guard. On September 4, 1957, the day the 9 students were to begin classes, the troops appeared at Central High as a show of force and to prevent the students from entering the building. One of the students, Elizabeth Eckford, recalled being surrounded by an angry white crowd outside the school. They moved closer and closer. I tried to see a friendly face somewhere in the crowd, someone who maybe would help. I looked into the face of an old woman, and it seemed a kind face. But when I looked again, she spat on me. Elizabeth Eckford, in an interview with NAACP official Daisy Bates. Another white woman later emerged from the crowd and helped to shield Eckford from harm. But Eckford and her fellow black students were kept out of school that day and for days afterward. Finally, on September 23rd, the Little Rock Nine returned to Central High. Once again, an angry white mob surrounded the school. This time, however, the mayor of Little Rock sought help from President Eisenhower. Although Eisenhower did not believe that integration should be accomplished by force, he could not allow defiance of federal authority. The president issued Executive Order 10730, sending in federal troops to maintain order and enforce the integration of the school. Eisenhower also put the Arkansas National Guard under federal control. The students rode to school in a convoy led by army jeeps with guns mounted on their hoods. They also had military bodyguards to protect them, at least for part of the school year. Despite this protection, the black students were subjected to insults and acts of violence from white students. As one of the 9, Minnie Jean Brown, said at the time, "They threw rocks, they spill ink on your clothes, they bother you every minute." Melba Patillo was another one of the students. Acid was thrown in their eyes, and only the quick action of her bodyguard saved her eyesight. The students and their families also received death threats. 8 of the 9 African-American students finished out the year at Central High. The following year, however, Governor Fabus closed all the Little Rock schools rather than allow another year of integration. It was not until September 1959 that integration continued in Little Rock. James Meredith enrolls at the University of Mississippi. Public universities were also required to integrate. In 1961, James Meredith, an African-American veteran of the Korean War, applied for admission as a transfer student to the University of Mississippi, commonly known as Ole Miss. The university had traditionally been all white, and Meredith knew he'd be taking a stand to integrate it. When his application was rejected, Meredith turned to the NAACP to help him take his case through the courts. At first, a district court ruled against him. On appeal, however, a higher court ruled that the university had to admit Meredith. Refusing him admission, the court said, would amount to the state of Mississippi maintaining segregation. Mississippi Governor Ross Barnett vowed that no black student would attend Ole Miss while he was in office. On September 20th, Barnett, acting as university registrar, personally refused to enroll Meredith. But President John F. Kennedy, also known as JFK, and Attorney General Robert Kennedy were determined to uphold the law as Brown had defined it. Although JFK was concerned about losing Democratic support in the South, he was sympathetic to the civil rights movement. In a nationally broadcast speech, he declared, "Americans are free to disagree with the law, but not to disobey it." On Sunday, September 30th, 1962, James Meredith secretly arrived on campus. When the news got out that night, a riot erupted. Angry white students burned cars and destroyed property. Before the night was over, 2 men had been shot and killed. President Kennedy sent armed federal marshals to protect Meredith so he could attend classes. Meredith survived verbal taunts and threats against his life and the lives of his parents. but he had always known what was at stake. Just days before entering Ole Miss, he had written, "The price of progress is indeed high, but the price of holding back is much higher." Meredith graduated from Ole Miss in the summer of 1963.